Welcome in West Tennessee. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning out for, I believe this is Weakley, Carroll, Henry, and Gibson counties. This is, again, one of those, could produce some larger hail, but these are moving into a much less conducive environment. There's not as much wind shear present here over West Tennessee, so hopefully over the course of the next hour or so, these storms are going to start to fall apart on themselves. And right now, a good chunk of lightning between McKenzie and Dresden there along Highway 22, and that's the closest thing we have to an indication that this storm is intensifying, if it is. But right now I don't see a hail core. There may be small hail. I'm not seeing anything that's screaming severe hail at me, but if there is, it's going to be just west of McKenzie, about to cross into northwestern Carroll County along Highway 79 between McKenzie and Tresvent. Now, we're going to take a step back off to the west. That never saved. My apologies. But a new older severe thunderstorm warning that goes out for another 2 more minutes. We do have a bit of a hail core going up into Lauderdale County, just crossing the Mississippi River now. That storm has come down quite a bit as well. We're going to zoom out and show you timing on that one. But again, the only community in the path of this hail core is ARP. It will be there around 6:46. So you got about 15 minutes in ARP to prepare for some hailstones. This could, a hail core that size leads me to believe we could see quarter size, $50, maybe even ping pong sized ball or ping pong ball sized hail. We'll give you a look at the whole region. These are the only 2 warnings we have right now, and one of them vastly more impressive on radar than the other, that being our Weakley County storm. Again, these are moving very, very slowly into an environment that is not going to be very conducive for severe weather to take place once these travel farther south here in West Tennessee. But again, we're going to keep an eye on this one since it's in counties we cover. But if this one decides to spike up again near Lauderdale County, we'll hop back on it in case it tracks near Haywood County here in probably the next 30 minutes. Again, these storms are moving very, very slowly, around 25 miles per hour southeast. So not usually what we're used to here in West Tennessee. We've also got a storm starting to go up along the Crockett-Gibson County line. We're going to keep an eye on that one over these next few scans. It looks pretty small right now, but it's in an area that's untouched by some of these storms so far. But it is right where it's clearing is possible that we could see a little bit of an uptick in convection in that one spot. Now, I'm going to re-rack things and we'll walk you back through it again. But here's a look over at that first storm. Again, really, really what I like about what I'm seeing here is that, well, it looks like it was weakening for a second, but this newest scan, we've got a bit of a hail core ticking up right across the Carroll County side of the Weakley Carroll County line. But that is going to cross Highway 79 probably. Again, these are slower storms, so whatever, it's going to be a while. I know it looks like it's close, but this is going to be probably another 10, 15 stuff north of Tresvent. And there's another new scan. That hail core really starting to ramp up. We may see this warning upgraded just a little bit, not to a tornado warning per se, but the hail size could go up from quarter to maybe $50, which is 1.25 inches, or to even ping pong ball sized hail, which is 1.5 inches. But again, we're going to take a look back over to our other storm, which still actually just did get a new warning there going down south into Lauderdale County. That storm taking a right turn, but got a nasty hail core building in actually crossing the Mississippi River right now into Lauderdale County. Good news is rotation. Thanks to the low wind shear, we have not seen a whole lot of spin. There were a few tornado warnings over in Missouri earlier today, but the storms have moved out of that environment right here in West Tennessee. We have high instability, yes. We have high moisture, yes. We don't have a good forcing mechanism, and we don't have good shear. So these severe thunderstorms may last a while compared to what we've had lately, but these are not going to be long-lasting severe storms by any stretch. Here's a look, again, timing. We're going to look, this hail core is going to be tracking towards Highway 51 just before 7 o'clock, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 6:48, somewhere between 6:48 and 6:50. 50 between or for Highway 51 in Lauderdale County, and that could pack a punch. That's some big hailstones if that return is to be believed. And it's not getting any smaller with these scans. Every time you see those white bars go across the screen, that's a new scan coming in from one of the radars. I've got Little Rock turned on, I've got Paducah turned on, I've got Memphis turned on. So we're getting 3 views at one time to see what we've got going on. Now, fortunately, what we're seeing is nothing new, and nothing new is a good thing aside from this one storm. Again, we're going to watch this. It's got that hook shape, but again, no shear here in West Tennessee. Well, not no shear, but not enough to be a big problem. What I am concerned about here is going to be bigger hail than maybe stronger winds. So if you've got a carport, you've got a garage, pull your cars in while you've got time. If you're in Lauderdale County, Carroll County, Weakley County, you're just about done here, unless you're on the Weakley County side of McKenzie. But other than that, we're gonna walk you through this one more time as we get into this. This warning, by the way, gone, but still close enough. I think you might catch some small hailstones to be worth watching. But again, this is probably going to be the most active storm in our region until that storm in Lauderdale County comes a little bit closer. Right now it's still on the Mississippi River, but it looks like it's taken a right turn and is going to be moving due south away from our counties that we cover here in Jackson. But again, I want to keep an eye on this hail core. It's about to cross Highway 79. That is going to be, right now, some good news is when you see the pink that small, again, it's a very tiny, not even the size of my fingertip. It is a very small hail core, but still see, it doesn't take much. It takes one stone to rack up a big bill if your car gets hit by a hailstone. Good news is when the hail core is this small, those hail cores are typically not very large stones. But again, one stone is all it takes, and we'll take you through over to that storm near Dyer County again, where we actually looks like we may have a second hail core going up over Crockett County. I'm going to zoom into this for a second, and I'm going to look over and see if the National Weather Service is saying anything about the storm in Crockett County, because that hail core is going right over Crockett Mills, and this is, I believe this storm is actually going to try to head southwest and merge with that storm on the Mississippi River somewhere over Lauderdale, maybe Haywood County, but still a concerning hail core for a storm that is currently unwarned. And yes, okay. So from the National Weather Service, they are monitoring the storm near Alamo, which is the one I have on the screen for you right now, for the potential of a severe thunderstorm warning. But right now, no warning on it. If you're in Alamo, if you're in Murray City, I want you inside, because that is probably one of the meaner hail cores actually actively in West Tennessee right now, right south of Crockett Mills. Again, this is just to the northeast of Highway 412. Of course, there is the Highway 188 exit is somewhere right here. This is the exit for North Cavalier Drive. That is coming your way, and that is going to come really close. I know they're not in school, but you need a landmark. Crockett County School System is all right there, right off of this exit coming into Alamo. So we're going to be looking to watch this storm, see if they get a warning on it. But it looks like it's got a pretty significant hail core on it compared to some of our other storms. But I want to zoom out again, and there is our one storm. It's got an uptick in lightning, so it may be intensifying again. But remember, there's not a lot of shear present in West Tennessee, so we may not see long-lived, long-track storms. But it's going to be like what we got Friday. Not everybody's going to see something, but if you see something, it could pack a pretty mean punch. Now, that's why I'm seeing we've got the hail core here coming into Lauderdale County, the hail core going up over Crockett County, but also our Carroll County storm also going up. Does fortunately look like it's weakening, at least in terms of reflectivity, but again, we'll re-rack this one more time, show you what's going on over on that storm. But right now, there looks like we've got maybe a split hail core or the Highway 79 icon, which unfortunately I don't have a way to turn off, is covering what could be an elongated hail core pretty much all along Highway 79, pretty much from McKenzie halfway to Tresvant on east to westbound 79. What I want to keep an eye on, also we're seeing an uptick in lightning just southwest of Trezevant, which could mean that we're also going to see either a split or a merge. They just trimmed that warning out, so if you're in Dresden, Greenfield, Rutherford, you are out of this now. All that's left is McKinsey, Trezevant. Huntingdon, you're still on the outside of this. Milan, you're still on the outside of this. But especially if you're in Milan, I would keep an eye on this. This is going to come very, very close to town. So if you live on 104, 79 going out of Milan towards the Carroll County line, head inside, move your cars to a safer location. These could be packing some pretty big hailstones over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes. And because these storms are so slow moving, they're going to be dropping a lot of hail, a lot of rain, all over one spot. Now, I haven't heard any reports of flash flooding yet, but with how hydrated we've been over the last 2-3 weeks, it would not surprise me at all if we start to see a flash flooding risk start to arise. And there we got a new scan. We've got a hail core again going up just northeast of Milan. That one also about to cross 79 between Milan and Atwood. But again, we'll go over to our other storms going up. Again, that is the best thing I've seen all day. That was probably the meanest hail core of the 3 we've had. It is now, 1, lightning is dropping off, and 2, the hail core has come down quite a bit. But again, we're going to walk over here. We're going to focus on Murray Junction to Alamo along 412 in Crockett County. We could see, oh, there's another new scan. Fortunately, the hail core gone down a little bit on that one too. Like I said, not a lot of shear, so there's not a lot of fuel for these storms to keep going. But that being said, potential for hail still arise. Okay, we just had lightning turned off on that last graphic. But even still, lightning has come down a fair bit. I'm actually going to go turn this tracker off for a second. We don't really need it right now since there's no discernible hail core on radar, but we are starting to see lightning flare up on that storm in Crockett County, and they have, no, that was just the update from the warning in Crockett, or Carroll County rather. But for the storm in Crockett County, we have a report, from Crockett County Emergency Management of no reports in the area there, and it's still in its early life cycle, so we've got to wait and see if that cell matures or if it falls apart due to the lack of shear here in West Tennessee. Now I'm going to pop this back over, show you a little, again, one more overview of what we've got going on. And I know these polygon shapes are a little weird, but that's a summer storm for you. We don't have a set direction because there's no shear. Of course, you look at this polygon, you think that storm's going this way, along Highway 79. It's not. It's going southeast, and it's moving very, very slowly. That's why I urge you to move your cars and move yourself inside into a sturdier location, because some of these hailstones, especially on this storm over here, could be pretty substantial. But good news is, Milan, it looks like you're going to be missing out on this next storm. But I'm going to show you Futurecast real quick, because Futurecast has actually not had anything on it. And there it is, just between now and 10 o'clock. There's not a lot on Futurecast, and that's kind of why we've been ignoring Futurecast today. It's been kind of going against our better judgment here at the Weather Center. But, of course, nothing serious going on Futurecast. And here we go, a new warning coming out. Waiting for the wording on the Weather Service. But I believe it's for our Carroll County cell. They have extended this. Paris, you're included in this, although I think you are on the all clear side of this. Camden, we're actually going to move. Let's move the map for a second, get you a new look at this warning. But it does look to be, this is actually going to carry it out to the Tennessee River on the far eastern side, but this includes Carroll, Gibson, northeastern Madison, northern Henderson, northern Decatur, the southern 2/3 of Benton County, and the southeastern Henry County, all included in this warning. It is going to be, and here's a report from Henry County Emergency Management. We've got pea-sized and larger hail falling or has fallen in McKinsey, but we'll zoom back into this storm because this storm is now our lead concern, and we're just going to follow it for a while. Again, that is a pretty significant hail core that just crossed 79. Huntingdon, you're in this now. but we're going to watch this hail core. This hail core is going to come very, very close to hitting Huntingdon head on. So if you're in Huntingdon and you can get your car to a safer spot, you've got time. These storms are moving very, very slowly. Southeast at 25 miles per hour is the vector today. Very, very slow moving storms. But we've also got a few communities. I know Highway 70 is lined with houses through Carroll County. So if you're on Highway 70, if you live on Highway 70, definitely, if you've got a carport, use it. If you've got a garage, use it. This hail could be packing a pretty mean punch. I actually did not look at the size from that last warning, but we'll look and see what the last on that warning is. Okay, it says just 1 inch, but I'm seeing some things I could believe where hail could be a little bit bigger than 1 inch there, so that's why I'm acting a little more urgent than radar would suggest. We also have a report of damaged corn crops in Henry County. So maybe some higher wind gusts could be, of course, in these bowing segments, like let me show you, right along this leading edge. You could really see some ramped up winds. There's probably a pretty good shelf cloud on this. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, let's take a look over at our Huntingdon camera. I'm going to have to find it real quickly, but we do have a look out in Huntingdon we can show you, and I'm not entirely sure where in Huntingdon this camera is, but a good view nonetheless of what's going on in Huntingdon over in Carroll County. Here we go. There's that camera. Let's see if it's working. It's going to take a second to populate, but again, we're watching some hail come into Carroll County. We've got a decent wind signature approaching. It doesn't look like we're going to have the Huntingdon camera, which is unfortunate, but we'll take you back to radar real quick. And I'm going to turn this from radar to velocity for a second because they're concerned with the wind signature coming into Huntingdon. And well, we don't want storm relative velocity. We want base velocity from Memphis. And this is a little elevated, but it doesn't look too impressive. So we'll swap it over to Paducah. There we go. That's what we're looking for. That will have to turn off the warnings for a second, but coming southwest of Huntingdon, could be, again, this is several thousand feet above the surface at this point from Paducah, but 63 mile per hour wind gusts could be possible coming into Huntingdon. So again, if you are in Huntingdon, it is time to go inside. When thunder roars, go indoors. And looks like the hail core is going to miss Huntingdon to the west just a little bit. But right along Highway 70, that's not a safe road to drive on. It is very, very narrow, and it's very, very winding. So if you're in Carroll County driving on Highway 70, you may want to find a gas station or something, pull off the side of the road, because this is going to be a pretty, even if it's just quarter-inch hail, the storm is moving slowly and it's dropping all of it at once. So again, keep an eye on this. We're gonna keep an eye on this, but until this warning is gone, we're going to be tracking this. And again, this warning goes out until 7 o'clock. So we've got 15 minutes thereabout, actually almost 13 minutes left of this first warning. I didn't check to see when this new warning will expire, but we'll zoom out just a second. We'll get you that new warning, the verbiage. It's probably going to be a lot longer just because we've got a lot of land area covered in this one. Yeah, it's till 7:30 on this new one, but they have raised the speed to 30 miles per hour. So it's sped up just a little bit, not a lot, but again, these are moving into a less conducive area. We'll put a track on this. It's still tracked out for 25, but still it'll give you a good idea of when things are going to get into town. So Lavinia 651, Hillard 652, Cedar Grove 7, Clarksburg 703, Law at 707, Mount Gilead at 711, Parker's Crossroads in Henderson County at 718, Wildersville at 719, Timberlake at 729, Lexington at 737. Now we do have another new thing, and we don't have a polygon for this. A special weather statement just came out for our Crockett County storm. So we'll clear this. We'll slide over, check it out, and see what they've tagged that special weather statement for. I'm going to read the wordage word for word straight from the Weather Service on this one. It looks like they're tagging this for nickel-sized hail, which is 7/8 of an inch, so 0.88 inches in diameter. Also 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so not quite a severe thunderstorm, but it's also still very, very young. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Heavy rain has made it into Alamo, again, per Crockett County Emergency Management. They have canceled our severe thunderstorm warning over in Lauderdale County. That storm has come down quite a bit, but we're going to still focus on this storm over coming into Huntingdon until that Crockett County storm gets upgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning, if that storm gets upgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll turn the polygons off for a second, and again, we're going to zoom. Actually, I want to zoom way, way into Huntingdon here. This is going to be, fortunately, the hail core has come down quite a lot, but right along, it says US 22, that should be Tennessee 22 there going north out of Huntingdon. But this is going to be very, very close to downtown Huntingdon, this hail core. But also a second hail core back to the west, south of New Zion. We're just going to keep an eye on this one to make sure downtown Huntingdon, if you can, get out of the way. You've got about 2 or 3 more minutes before this is going to be too close to call. But that is a very, very, it's going to be close to Huntingdon, downtown Huntingdon. I'm going to get out of the way here in just a sec. But there, that is our hail core. It's come down quite a bit over the last few scans, but still, we're going to watch this until it doesn't look severe enough to keep an eye on. But we're still seeing lightning strikes even in this small frame. This is just surrounding Huntingdon, and we've seen about 2 or 3 lightning strikes come up. This cell is still very, very healthy, which is a sign that the instability is still churning and there's still enough shear to keep this storm vented. But again, as this continues to work its way south, that's not going to be the case anymore. It's going to lose some of that gusto, especially once it gets really to I-40. South of I-40, things could really start to fall off pretty quickly. But I know if you're in Carroll County, you didn't think this was going to happen today. You weren't even under a marginal risk today. That's why when there is a marginal risk, it goes out 25 miles beyond the actual boundary of that polygon. So we're looking at, again, a hail core about to come into Huntingdon right now. It looks, we can draw an arrow on this and show you just how far away that is from Huntingdon. And we'll grab the ruler just real quick. And that is 2 miles at 30 miles per hour. That is not a lot of time. And a new scan, well, that is coming into, that is actually probably about to go right over the Hucks coming into Huntingdon on Highway 70 at Highway 22. That is actually just right here. So we might be getting some hail at the Hucks station there, Walmart, all those little shopping corridor right there where all the highways come together in Huntingdon. Right, I believe it's the 22 bypass going around town rather. But again, this is a pretty potent hail core working right into Huntingdon proper. So we're going to watch this, again, still watching. If it grows up anymore, we're going to stick with it. But for now, things look to be nothing more intense. Just some pretty close calls around Huntingdon. So we'll zoom in even closer. There we go. That's how close I wanted to get before. I didn't know we could go in this close. So this is coming right into Huntingdon. You see this. So by now this radar scan's outdated, but that's the Walmart parking lot. Okay, that is hailing at the Huntingdon Walmart right now, and as well as Hucks right here at the intersection of 70 and the 70 bypass, I believe, or the 22 bypass, one of those two. Looks to miss downtown Huntingdon to the southwest, but still, there are probably a good chunk of people at the Walmart in Huntingdon right now. So if you're there, stay there. It's a warehouse. It will keep you safe from hailstones. If you're out in the parking lot, run back in. If you know somebody that's there right now, let them know. Say, hey, stay hunkered down at the Walmart for a few more minutes. But it does look like eventually, probably in the next minute or so, we'll get a new scan, and we'll have to re-rack this to track some new, or where the new hail core will be. But again, these storms today, very, very slow moving compared to what we're used to, especially, I mean, even in the summertime, these are slow moving storms compared to what we're used to. But did we lose the hail core entirely there? We may have. That is a pretty good sign. But another report of hail of unknown size in Alamo. So we'll hop back over to that storm for a second. And it, again, doesn't look that impressive on radar. And again, that hail core with that storm, the biggest hail really with this storm should be between Coxville and Gadsden. That is where that hail should be. But we're getting reports of hail of unknown size in Alamo, which means there's a pretty strong updraft in here as well. But the most intense portion of the storm is kind of over open farmland between, really a triangle between Gadsden, Coxville, and Nance there in northeastern Crockett County. So fortunately, still no warning on this one yet. It's still a very young storm. We'll have to keep an eye on radar trends and what it's doing. Fortunately, it looks less organized than the other storms we've been tracking so far, but I can't in good conscience take my eyes off of this one. Could be, I know we don't have the pinks on radar anymore, but we could still be seeing dime, nickel, penny, you've got a coin that's less than 25 cents, you name it, could be falling in Huntingdon right now. Again, this scan's a couple minutes old, so it's probably closer to Hillard than it is Huntingdon at this point. But plenty of lightning. We've got 3 strikes in the last 10 minutes near that core. So there is plenty of, it's still very healthy, plenty of energy still to feed into this storm. And there's nothing out in front of it that's sort of eaten any of that energy up. The only thing working against these storms is farther south they go, the less shear they'll have to work with, which will again allow a gradual weakening of these storms. But as of right now, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning on this one. I haven't seen them trim it or drop it entirely, but we are looking. Memphis is concerned with possible wind damage in Huntingdon. If you're in Huntingdon and you have wind damage, don't go out just yet. Wait a little bit longer. But if you can, send it to us. We can send it to the Weather Service. Or if you know how to send it to the Weather Service, feel free to do so. But looks like we may have seen some wind damage according to radar in Huntingdon. But again, like I said, it looked like the strongest winds missed Huntingdon to the southwest along Highway 70. But now what I'm seeing here with that latest scan is this may be trying to reorganize into more of a Boeing shape. There you see we've got that rounded leading edge. That is going to be along Westport Road between between Hillard and Westport. But this Boeing segment, that is a sign you've got some pretty stout winds moving in on radar. But we can actually go back and again we'll show you what the actual velocity looks like for now. But for the time being, doesn't look like we see any hail in there, but I agree. I do believe there could be some wind damage in Huntingdon, and there it is, just east of Tate, between Tate and Hillard, just east of Highway 70, a very, very bright pocket of wind. And we'll click that brightest particle just east of Tate, and that would do it. If that is what makes it down to the surface, 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is pretty intense, folks. That would cause some damage. That would take out some trees, power lines, not to mention the amount of crops that could be seeing some damage out in Carroll County. But we'll pop things back onto the reflectivity for a second just to show you. And what I like about this is we're starting to see with this latest scan, so the gradient from light rain to downpour has widened significantly. So when you see this, the yellow has banded out pretty, even still with that newest scan, it's still, the bands of yellow are still fairly wide. So that means rain is getting farther out ahead of the storm. That means the shear is dropping because it is getting blown out by the surface winds rather than the winds aloft that just keep it controlled, keep it oriented. But still, could see some pretty intense winds right along Westport Road going through Carroll County between Hillard and State Route 114. That's going to be south of Buena Vista. Buena Vista, I think you're going to be just fine. You might get some heavy rain, maybe some small hail, but the strongest portion of this storm is going to be right along Westport Road. Again, fortunately, no rotation today. Not a lot of shear, and a new hail core just popped up east of Scott Hill, not Scotts Hill in Henderson County, Scott Hill in Carroll County. That is just east of Highway 70. A new hail core has gone up. We'll have to watch this for just a little while longer, but we've got that warning goes out until 7:30. We'll start to see some cancellations here now that this is beginning to move southward. So as of now, that original warning that expired at 7 will be allowed to expire. I haven't seen anything about a trim, but let's see. Do we have something that I could show you on camera? I can point this to the west, and I can show you our downtown camera, but we've still got a fair bit of sunlight here in Jackson that's going to be eroding the cap. So if something does come into Madison County, it could go up pretty quickly, but it could also come crashing down just as fast, just thanks to that lack of shear. So we're going to zoom back into Carroll County, and if you're in Clarksburg, Highway 424, Clarksburg-Yuma Road, this is where you need to start paying attention, folks. If you're between Clarksburg and Highway 70 along Tennessee Highway 424, this is where you need to start watching for the potential for some large, potentially damaging hail. But again, our strongest winds are going to be to the north of that along Westport Road going into or east of Hillard towards State Highway 114. But this hail core has been dropping almost due south. So due south puts it around Clarksburg-Yuma Road. Again, I don't see anything that's screaming straight line winds this far south, but that boundary could be a wall of wind. We can go back and show you what the velocity looks like. Again, we don't see rotation. Today is not a rotation day. I know we have some shear present. We do not have enough shear present to support even really brief spin-up tornadoes. We can probably maybe see some radar indicated rotation, but I don't think we're going to see anything too scary in terms of rotation. There we've got 67 mile per hour winds coming down towards Clarksburg, but again, we're going to turn reflectivity back on for this, and we're going to keep an eye on this. That's all we can do. Again, it's not like a tornado setup where we can track it, tell you everything that's going on at the surface. This is a hailstone setup where we can tell you where it's going and where you need to be to get out of the way. And right now that area is Clarksburg over along Clarksburg-Yuma Road to Highway 424. Between Clarksburg and Highway 70, that hail core has been pretty consistently dropping south since it was in Huntington. But it's also been pulsing fairly regularly, so there may not always be hail falling. Again, we're waiting on a new radar scan to come in, but we're still seeing plenty of lightning, so the storm is still healthy. Good news is it is now the only real storm that, in the area. And the latest update at 7 o'clock, Henry County will be trimmed out of this warning. So let's zoom out and re-grab that warning for a second. And there's the latest. Camden, you're still in it. I think you're done. Southern Benton County, I'd keep an eye on it. Holiday, again, this could expand out to the east. We see a couple cells going up with a little bit of lightning, but again, the cell in Carroll County has been the one packing the biggest punch. So Clarksburg, Wildersville, and eventually I-40, you're going to want to keep an eye on this. I wish I knew mile markers off the top of my head, but if you are near Wildersville, west of Natchez Trace, between Wildersville and Mount Gilead along I-40. That is, okay, so the Highway 104 exit over to the Wildersville Road exit along I-40 in Henderson County. You may want to pull off at a gas station and hunker down for 30, 45 minutes because we've got some potentially damaging hail, maybe some damaging winds coming in to northern Henderson County here very shortly. But as of right now, still going to keep an eye on Clarksburg. In fact, let's go ahead and zoom back in to Clarksburg. That hail core is coming very, very close to town. So Springer Road, Johnny Cook Road, Milam Road, Crum Road, Clarksburg, Yuma Road. You are at the most risk for hail right now. If you are east of Clarksburg, I'd be more concerned about damaging winds. But Highway 424 also, you're going to come really close to some hail here, probably within the next 10 to 15 minutes. These, again, storms are moving very slow, 30 miles per hour, somewhere between 25, 30 miles per hour. So not usually what we see here in West Tennessee. A lot of times in West Tennessee, our storms are moving highway speed. Today they're moving small town with a cop speed. But here what we have is a couple of lightning strikes, so we're still seeing them, so the storm is still showing signs of life. But a hail core, and it could be pretty sizable, all the way back up towards Anarch School, still back towards Westport Road. But this is the hail core portion of this storm is dropping almost due south. So if it follows that track, it's going to miss Clarksburg just to the west. But some of you with a Clarksburg address could still get some hail. And here's the latest scan. Fortunately, no hail core on this newest scan, but we're starting to see that gradient tighten up again between the greens all the way back to the red. So maybe again, we're starting to see that wind threat ramp back up in Carroll County again. This is pretty close to the Henderson County line where we could start to see some of those hailstones, maybe some stronger winds. But right now, radar, again, we're pretty far away from all three radars we'd use right here. We're pretty far from Paducah, pretty far from Memphis, and we're pretty far from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So as of right now, we're just kind of sitting and waiting, hoping we get some reports for some ground truth here at the studio to see if we've got any sort of stuff coming in Gibson County. You've also been trimmed from that warning that wasn't mentioned previously. But Benton, Carroll, Decatur, Henderson, Madison, you are still in this. And now they're saying storms have essentially transitioned to a wind threat. So we're going to be keeping an eye out for bowing segments. Fortunately, right now, again, this is our only active warning across all of West Tennessee. And they're moving into an environment where things are not so conducive for severe weather. But this gradient, you notice it is very, very small between the lightest rain and a torrential downpour just south of Clarksburg. There could very well be some pretty strong winds, probably a pretty nice shelf cloud on that. But again, our Huntington cam wasn't working, and this is going to miss Lexington. So our Lexington camera is not going to be able to show us much either. So the next camera we have for this is actually Parsons, and that's if the storm holds together that long. We'll still keep an eye on it for the time being. Again, the warning goes out until 7:30, so we've got about 24, 23 more minutes where we could see some maybe severe conditions. But as of right now, things look to be weakening a little bit. We're still going to watch for a bowing segment like this. That right there with that newest scan. That could very well be a kick out of some gustier winds that just crossed into Henderson County from Carroll County. This is going to come right up on I-40 probably within the next 5 minutes. So if you're on I-40 if you're on I-40 in Henderson County, we'll just put it that way. If you're in Henderson County on I-40, you're going to run into this, and it could get pretty intense at times. But this is our only storm that we have to watch right now. A couple of other storms trying to go up over Benton and Decatur counties. Fortunately, this guy right here in northern Decatur County is actually going to be eating a fair bit of the energy out ahead of these storms, which again is another thing that's going to be working in our favor. But wind risk is starting to go up, especially right along the leading edge of this storm coming into Henderson County right now. It's going to come very close to Wildersville. We can zoom in even tighter if we need to, but as of right now, it doesn't look like this is in a very populated area between Clarksburg and I-40. Yuma might be getting pretty windy right now, but that between Yuma and I-40 looks to be fairly empty. But we can, again, zoom in even tighter and get some roads here along I-40. And some of these roads may not have access to I-40, so you may just need to go inside and hunker down for a few minutes. But Old Gordon Road, Exchange Road, County Line Road, Peterson Lane, that's on the Henderson County side, Old Texas Lane, Yuma Road, Hatch Lane, Sandy Road, that's over on the Carroll County side. But again, we are seeing fortunately, the hail core has come down. So we're still watching for wind threat coming into northern Henderson County. This is, again, our only storm that we're watching right now. Our storm over Crockett County has fizzled out. We actually have the leading edge of that coming into view on our downtown camera here in Jackson. But again, the strongest and only storm in West Tennessee right now is right over Clarksburg and about to move into Carroll County. Again, it says moving southeast. These have started to move due south because out to the east we've got this two storms over Benton County and northern Decatur County that are starting to tap into some of these ingredients. We're not going to see a whole lot going into this for very long. But if this continues to trend downward, we'll hop off the stream. But right now, staying with it until either the warning gets cut or we're confident enough it is done producing severe or near severe criteria. Once this storm wraps up, we should be done for the night. But we're not done for tomorrow, and we'll talk about that later tonight. But for right now, we're going to focus on Clarksburg, Wildersville. But I like what I'm seeing. I'm starting to see this fall apart. It's coming down in reflectivity. Even the heaviest rain has started to come down quite a bit just south of Clarksville, Wildersville. I don't think this is an outflow boundary. I think this is these storms finally starting to move into an area that is less conducive. Oh, that blip was the Paducah radar. The Paducah radar has been having some issues today with maintaining radar data on the screen. It even did that during the newscast today, if you caught it. But Clarksburg, that is the area of concern right now. It was a hail core, now it might just be a heavy rain core dropping south down into Henderson County near Wildersville. But these gradients, they're widening out. Lightning coming down a lot. I didn't have the counter turned on, but looks like we could be seeing this storm finally weaken a little bit, which is a good sign. Our severe weather threat was never very high to begin with today, but marginal risk along Highway 51 looks like it overachieved today as we've got severe weather already almost all the way over to Highway 641, which is okay. I'm going to zoom in on that coming all across I-40 right now. That looks like we could be seeing some pretty intense wind gusts on the interstate right now. Fortunately, or I think this is rather unfortunate, these are going to be blowing across the highway. So semi-trucks, be very, very vigilant if you're driving, watching this, and near semi-trucks on I-40. Actually, doesn't look like we're in a good spot to look at velocity. Memphis, this is scanning too high. Paducah scanning right at the edge of their range. Little Rock too far away. Nashville, I think Nashville might be too far away too. So our best guess is going to come from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and that is, again, does not look all that impressive. So these are good signs. We do have a report of a tree down in Greenfield. So that's along Highway 54. So we did get, and just from my eyes, that's a pretty sizable tree. So we do have some pretty significant storm damage coming out of Weakley County, and that is from this storm that we've got pulled up right now on the screen from Clarksburg to Wildersville. I want to zoom in and make sure we're not getting a second hail core trying to redevelop just on top of I-40. But the area I'm concerned with is right here. This area right here just to the west of Wildersville. If a hail core tries to redevelop, that's where it's going to be. Fortunately, though, Weather Service sees a change that we're starting to move towards a wind threat. The good news is I think the severe weather threat as a whole is beginning to wrap up. A new lightning strike right on the county line. What we're going to do real quick is take a little bit of a peek at the Weather Service chat and to see if I've missed anything over the last few minutes. But other than the newest storm damage report from Weakley County, looks like we're going to start to see this threat wrap up really quickly, and it's really thanks to these two storms over Benton and Decatur County have really tapped into some of the better inflow that's going to start to eat away at our severe warned storm. We are getting a new message, a new update from the Weather Service here in just a few seconds. Someone is typing. But what I'm seeing here tells me this storm is weakening, and that is exactly what they just said. Lightning trending down on the storm near Clarksburg, which is a sign that storms are weakening. Storms all lightning is. It's the same process as you rubbing your socks on the carpet and then getting shocked by the doorknob you touch next. Instead, it's clouds rubbing up against clouds, and then they touch the ground next instead of a doorknob. But if that's the case, we're not going to be on here much longer. We're just going to ride this out until they cancel the warning. But we could be seeing some strong winds, even if it's not severe. We could be seeing some 40, maybe some low 50s on the winds right across I-40, and these are blowing southeast. So these are going to be cutting across the highway, which could spell a danger risk if there are semis out there. They just trimmed the warning. Clarksburg, you're now out. Does look like we are indeed starting to see this threat wrap up. Wildersville, Alberton, Lexington, you're in it, but I don't know that this storm's going to hold together. Lexington, I think you're going to be okay. Still stay hunkered down just in case, because weakened storms can send lightning strikes a little bit farther than a healthy storm can. That's why they're called bolts from the blue. They come from weakening thunderstorms where the bottom of the storm is gone, but the top of the storm is still capable of producing lightning and thunder. But we're just going to ride this out, watch it over the course of the warning expires in 15 minutes. But this trend we're seeing is a good thing. Storm's weakening, the hail core is gone. It even looks like the gradient is a lot messier, so maybe not even a whole lot of wind left. But if there is, it's right along I-40 right now. Now it's east of Wildersville, but again, this is what a weakening storm looks like. It's going to get a little bit, we'll probably, if this doesn't re-intensify here over the next probably 2 or 3 minutes, they're probably going to let this warning go early because nothing about any of these cells near Wildersville, Clarksburg, Cosette, Sugar Tree, Eagle Creek, and Gizmonda, none of them look like a potentially intense right now. Things have come down quite a bit, and that's what we want to see. We weren't expecting a widespread severe weather thing. We got a little bit more than was forecasted, but we're not opposed to that. Tomorrow we'll be looking at a more widespread threat. Tomorrow, the entire region under a marginal risk, but this is just starting to fall apart, and that's what we want to see. There's not a whole lot of organization here. We see the north side of the storm popping out to the west, southern part of the storm popping out to the east. Maybe the storm's getting pulled apart by the two storms off to on either side of it. The storms over in Benton and Decatur County, and the newer storm that just tried to go up on the backside of this between Law and Wildersville. Madison County, to no surprise, you have been trimmed from this warning with the latest update. But we're still under that warning for another 13 minutes or so. I don't think that they'll be letting it go much longer. So we'll just, since it is showing a weakening trend, we're just going to leave radar up over this area. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. If it re-intensifies, we'll be back in just a few minutes with more updates.
Good morning, West Tennessee. It's almost as if I told you this was going to happen. Anyways, here we go. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning in northwest Tennessee. And this is a live shot over the Paul Meek Library. We're looking north here at a shelf cloud that may be followed by some gusty winds up to 45 to 50 miles per hour. This is in northern Weakley County, of course. They're at Martin, Tennessee. We'll come back to that in a moment. But let's get over to Storm Tracker 7 Max radar to show you what's going on in terms of the radar perspective of things right now. Once my computer decides to go ahead and get us over the radar, we'll show you kind of what's going on. Most of West Tennessee mainly dry, but we've had a couple of waves already try to push their way through northwest Tennessee as expected. The first of which missed us, but it did produce also a shelf cloud that moved through Benton County. I have that up on social media. But here is the stronger part of the storm. And again, we were sort of watching where things were coming together there in the Purchase region of West Kentucky. We'll go in a little tighter here. Not only is this going to produce damaging winds, but also look at how much lightning. 315 strikes in just this little area here in just the last 10 minutes. So this is going to be moving to the southeast at about 40 miles an hour. It's going to put it in Palmersville very shortly at 9:20. Martin, Tennessee, it's already there. Dresden, it'll be there by about 9:34. Sharon at 9:38. Paris, if it holds together, at 9:41. Gleason at 9:44. 9:50 in Greenfield. And McKenzie, if it holds together just before 10 o'clock, it will be there. This is the first of several rounds that we are expecting today. Of course, this is going to leave another boundary that will lead to more development a little bit later for the rest of West Tennessee. We'll go in tight to take a quick look at this, and this is what prompted the National Weather Service to issue that warning. Notice these little cores where we're seeing this lighter pink. Those are winds that are pushing 50, almost 50 miles an hour. It's about 50, almost keying in at 60 miles an hour. Of course, this is just off the surface, but some of that might try to make its way down with some of these torrential downpours that we've got going on over the region today. Quick look at Futurecast to show you that little cluster will continue to push its way off to the southeast, leaving an outflow boundary for later on that we do expect to reignite additional storms as we get later into the morning, and then probably a little bit later, more so a little bit later on this afternoon. But I do still think we're going to have a little bit of a lull at a point here. We'll go right back and we'll check out that shelf cloud. You can see how rugged it looks there as it's approaching UT Martin, the campus there, from the north, moving to the south towards the screen in this case as it approaches there at this hour. Again, with this line, there's a potential for up to 60 mile per hour winds along with quarter-size hail. That's also possible with this line as it approaches from the north and west. Again, here's a quick look at a Storm Tracker 7 Max radar as this line starts to push its way. Not only is Weakley County in this included, it's also eastern Obion County, Union City technically in this warning as well. I don't have a camera there anymore, but this is going to be pushing its way southeastward towards Paris, Tennessee, and northern Henry County. So we got a damaging wind threat up to 60 mile per hour winds. That's capable of taking out trees and power lines. So that's why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued that. In addition to that, this has a prolific amount of lightning along with it. Again, this warning is going to go until about 10 o'clock for Obion, Weakley, and Henry counties. Here's the latest track on that. I'm going to update this just so we get some new times of arrival for this line as it continues to make its way down to the southeast. I'll get out of the way so y'all can see what's going on here. I'm going to shift this just to the east and to the south just a little bit to give you some new times of arrival. So here we are. So here it's already there in Reeves, Martin, Tennessee. It's already there. Cottage Grove at 9:27 per year, at 9:32. Dresden at 9:34, and then Sharon at 9:38. And if it holds together a little bit, it'll be coming into Bradford. If you're watching us from Greenfield and Bradford, it's coming. We're talking about 9:50 for that, and then about 9:57 in McKenzie. Big Sandy, if it holds together, it'll be about 10:02 when it makes its arrival. Let's just check real quick on the winds here. I'm just going to take a real quick query on some of these on some of these higher cores here, like right here, for example. Yeah, see how it's keying in at 59 miles an hour. So let's that's what we're sort of watching for, and that's coming in about South Fulton. So if you're watching this at South Fulton, there you go. There's another one at about 63 miles per hour. So that's enough to do some damage. That's what we're watching. These cores that's just now hitting the the Tennessee and Kentucky line. It's coming into South Fulton right now as it continues to make its way down to the southeast. So again, Martin, Tennessee, it's coming. That shelf cloud, it meant business. I'm going to have to fix it again because it keeps going back to the default view here on the camera. But I'm going to try to give you another look at that before we toss you back to regular program here. But we want to take one more look at this shelf cloud before we get over to regular programming here. I'm sorry, go ahead again, Director. There it is. It's basically right on top of you right now. So we're going to take a real quick look out the windows so you can see what's happening there in northern Weakley County. Right now we're kind of going in what we call the whale's mouth right now. You can see the shelf is directly over the library. You can see the lift right along the leading edge of this shelf cloud. And then back behind it, this is what we call the whale's mouth. And that's where the winds are going to be coming in, pushing almost 60 miles an hour as they come across Martin, Tennessee here on this live view here. So that is a perfect view that I wanted to show you there. This shelf cloud as it continues to work its way into town here. So just to do our due diligence, you can see it is moving very quickly as well. I'm just turning the camera a little bit so we can see kind of the leading edge of this thing. Look at this. Yeah, see, look at that. My goodness, that is the mothership right there. I'm going to take a screenshot of that because that is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and grab that for ourselves here, and we'll post that up on social media as well. So this is the shelf cloud that's coming through Weakley County right now. Again, right behind that shelf cloud will be damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, along with hail the size of quarters as possible with this line, as well as it continues to work its way. And of course, we'll go ahead and take another look at Storm Tracker 7 Max Radar. We're going to come back to that shot here in just a moment here. How am I doing on time, Director? Okay, so we'll just do one last sweep here, look at everything here, and then we'll come back. We're going to be doing these updates as long as we've got warnings, which it looks like we're going to probably see at least half of our area go under a severe thunderstorm warning if this line or this cluster sort of holds together here. But again, we're going to go in tight here to take a look. Again, plenty of lightning, and this frame right now where there's 240 lightning strikes, that number going up as this line continues to drive southward. So again, we're looking at, I'm going to update your times of arrival here one more time, and then again I will post this up on social media as well. So we'll go ahead and do this. We'll put it in Martin now. So there you go. So here's your new times of arrival. It'll be in Dresden by 9:31, Sharon at 9:35, Kenton at 9:38, Paris at 9:41, Greenfield at 9:47, China Grove at 9:30 or 9:48 rather. Bradford, if you're all watching us from Bradford to Greenfield, about 9:58, it's coming. So make sure you hunker down as this line segment continues to drive down to the south. We'll just want to check real quick on wind gust here, and again, it looks like some of the biggest winds are still in and around South Fulton right now. Hasn't arrived in Martin, Tennessee yet, but they're on the way. Dresden, you will be next in line to see those. One more shot before we go, and then we'll send you back to regular programming. And there you go. That's the shelf cloud as this continues to make its way across the campus of UT Martin at this hour. We're going to toss it back to programming. We'll be back in just a few minutes with another weather update. Good morning, West Tennessee. That is the wrong camera. We'll go ahead and take a look at a Storm Tracker 7 Max radar as we are going to update you as things have changed a little bit. That particular shot there in Saltillo, that's what it looks like across other parts of West Tennessee right now. But again, we do have this line segment that's still back developing to the west a little bit. So right now you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning in Gibson County or Dyer County or Crockett County. That might change. This core is growing pretty good here on that particular cell, which we'll come back to in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the current warning we currently have. They haven't extended it farther any further southeast, mainly due to reports. I haven't had any additional reports of 60 mile per hour or damage. Make sure you're letting us know about that as well if that's happening. But the strongest part of the storm right now basically in Paris right now, you guys have some very heavy rain and some damaging wind there as well. But back to the west, where this line is developing new cells between the community of Crockett back towards the west, towards just north of New Bern. Again, it does not currently have a warning, but I went ahead and put a track on it so you know what's going on here. So again, this is moving to the southeast at around about 40 miles per hour. So that's going to put it in New Bern at 9:49, Dyer at 9:59, Barron's Corner at 10 o'clock, Bradford. This is the other storm. So this is not the one that we were tracking earlier. This is the new ones that are developing on the back side of it. That could come through by about 10:06. Trenton, if it holds together, it'll be there at about 10:10. Brazil, that'll be roughly the same time, about 10:15. Fruitland, Milan, if this thing develops further here, as it continues to make its way to the southeast, it'll be arriving about 10:21. Now also keep in mind, you also have an outflow that's going to be blowing in from the first batch of storms that's also coming. That's going to be moving southwest over some of these same communities. So you're going to get two lines. So you're going to have the outflow and the shelf cloud come through Rutherford, Dyer, Bradford, Greenville. That's from the first batch of storms. And then right about 20-30 minutes later, you're going to have this other part that's redeveloping on the back end that's also going to come through. That's going to bring the actual rain through. So I just want you to understand physically what's going on there as well. In addition to that, the Storm Prediction Center now has took interest in this line. They're thinking this is going to continue to strengthen as it makes its way to the south and east, and that's specifically why I mentioned that, because they're thinking that we need a severe thunderstorm watch. We'll see if Memphis agrees with them and they go ahead and issue that for the rest of West Tennessee. It'll probably and more likely be a severe thunderstorm warning if they do manage to issue that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the areas sort of they're watching here real quick. I forgot to save it, so that was my fault. But again, Storm Prediction Center is thinking there's going to be a need for there. So notice that big red polygon you see up here there. So right now they put out what we call a mesoscale discussions, and now they're talking to the National Weather Service office both in Nashville and over in Memphis, and they're going to discuss it and see do they think this thing is going to continue to strengthen as it continues to drop off to the southeast, and we need a severe thunderstorm watch for the rest of the area. For at least through probably, if they issue it, it's probably going to go through about lunchtime. This is probably not the main event. We're still thinking this is going to leave an outflow boundary across the region. So it looks like they went ahead and downgraded and went with a significant, notice that cyan polygon just appeared. That's for what we call a significant weather advisory. So they're not getting reports of actual 60 mile per hour winds. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm warning means either 58 plus mile per hour winds and or 1 inch diameter hail. And right now we're not getting reports of that from that line so far, which is good news. It means this is just below severe criteria, but this thing is still going to get your attention. So they went ahead and put a cyan, and that now includes Huntington and Camden, and included in that significant weather advisory. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just put a track on that, a new track on that storm for you. So let's back up here, and I need to update that. I'm going to back up just a little bit here first, and we'll clear that out, and I'll put a new track on here on that line. But obviously the strongest part of that line is clearly in Henry County at this hour, and then it's quickly going to be pushing over into Carroll County and also Benton County, eventually northern Henderson and northern Decatur County. I'll go ahead and add Lexington in there too, so that you at least see your times of arrival there for that location as well. So I'm going to get Lexington in there so y'all see your time of arrival. There it is. So 10:36 if this thing sort of holds together as it continues to push off to the southeast. The good news is it does appear to be weakening a little bit, but again, look what's going on to the south of this line here. right to the south of this. Look at all the sunshine. So the instability isn't really there yet. It's actually growing, and I think that's the concern. As it continues to grow to the south here, this line will start to interact with that growing instability, which is happening fairly quickly because we still have a very soupy air mass in place. So it certainly could continue to strengthen as it drops off to the south across West Tennessee. If that watches issue, of course, we'll hop back on and we will update you in about 30 minutes. Unless something happens before that, we'll certainly get you updated on that situation. Good morning, West Tennessee. Another real quick weather update here for you. To show you a picture I got sent, an email here. Scott Sublett sent this one in. This is actually from Union City. Again, another shot of that shelf cloud as it's been sneaking southward. By the way, Eve, severe shelf cloud never said it's not an indication of severe weather. It's just some deeper, cooler, drier air that's pushing south into some very deep tropical moisture. So we got a lot of condensation right along that leading edge. So that's what you're seeing here. But some of these storms have been trying to produce some severe weather, even though we don't currently have a warning out for any part of West Tennessee. We'll go ahead and keep an eye on that. Storm Prediction Center still watching part of the area for the potential for a watch. It hasn't been issued at this point yet, but we'll just keep watching trends and see how that plays out. Here's a quick look at Storm Tracker 7 Max radar. What they're watching is the backside of this thing as it continues to develop back to the west, although over the last 10 to 15 minutes or so, there has been less and less development back to the west here along this outflow boundary. So that may be an indication this thing is trying to weaken down. One new storm just popped there on the corner of Crockett, Madison, and Gibson County. But other than that, we're mainly dry. Watching for a line of cumulus clouds to continue to develop. That's moving through the Boot Hill of Missouri. So this is the stuff we're watching for Jackson. If we have something pushed through Jackson before they get to the second round later on today, it'll come from this direction. And right now, there's just not anything really getting going. But as we have found out multiple times today, that can happen very quickly. So we'll keep an eye on that. Strongest storm still moving through Benton County right now. Got some heavy rain between Brewston, Camden, Big Sandy, all places like that. Received some very heavy rain along with some frequent lightning. Although the count down from what it was earlier, we were looking at over 300 and 400 strikes earlier. So the numbers are coming down a little bit, indicating lines maybe trying to weaken or fluctuate just a little bit here. Futurecast again does keep this little cluster moving east. And it does have a little bit of a line or tail, if you would, pushing through about 11 o'clock. This is through about just before lunchtime, pushing down to the south and east. But I trust the Futurecast with a grain of salt. Remember, this morning it had nothing, literally nothing coming through West Tennessee this morning. Yeah, so we'll trust that with a grain here. Either way, we'll go back to Storm Tracker 7 Max radar, and we'll just sort of keep an eye on trends here. We're going to keep an eye on this business back here. There's not much going on there, but we are watching cumulus clouds develop back here across the Boot Hill of Missouri that might become a thunderstorm rapidly and then push its way to the southeast. That's sort of what we'll be watching over the next couple hours. In the short term, we still have some heavy rain in Camden, Brewston, Hollow Rock, places like that, Big Sandy, and soon to be Holiday. Also some very heavy rain, frequent thunder and lightning with that. And by the way, these rainfall rates are hitting about 1 inch per hour. So this is leading to hyperlocal flooding issues. So you want to be careful if you're out and about with any of this activity. It doesn't matter if it's severe or not. We still have the tropical downpours with a lot of this activity as it continues to work off to the southeast. So we're going to be back within about 30 minutes unless something else happens before then, but with another update here in about 30 minutes. It'll be a minute. Hang on. Oh. I lost audio. There we go. There you go. I got you now. All right. Good morning, West Tennessee. Just a real quick weather update here for you. We're still looking out the window. We do have a shelf cloud that's now working its way into Jackson and Madison County. Again, right now, at least it's behaving itself, although I am looking off to the northeast a little bit. I'm looking at that cell that's moving through northeastern Madison County over into northern Henderson County. There was a new storm that was developing there. It looks like a pretty good downpour with that. But we're going to just take a look since I've got you here. We'll go ahead and take a look at this whole shelf cloud that's making its way into Jackson right now. Again, you can see looks like a bit of a downpour developing in north Jackson there in this live shot here with the rugged clouds moving through downtown Jackson right now. As we pan off to the west, you can see the shelf cloud is starting to get a little bit more organized, but it is pretty high up in the sky compared to what we saw earlier with the boundary when it was moving its way. All this stuff you're seeing down here, this is what we call scud clouds. What you're looking at is the moisture that's condensing and going right into the cloud here. So we're just looking at a lot of scud here, not threatening at the moment, but we're keeping an eye on additional development because this boundary is moving into a slightly more and more unstable and more conductive environment. So that's sort of what National Weather Service is watching right now. That's why they haven't issued any watches just at this point, but we are watching trends here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on here. We still have technically the mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center here, and this is what you're seeing come through here. So notice that cloud line, that's what's moving through Jackson right now here as we go in to our traditional view here. That's going to continue to work its way to the southeast. We're still watching back here for any additional or new development. That's just not happening just yet, but this is moving into a slightly more conductive environment as it moves along and just south of I-40. As for the stronger storm, and it was tracking this one, I put this one online as well, but this is the storm that developed right here in southern Gibson County, just east of Humboldt, and pushed quickly over into Henderson County. Now it's going to be arriving in Lexington there at about 11:03 or 11:04. I don't know why it's got two different Lexingtons there, but Parker's Crossroads is you're pretty much getting out of it now there in Parker's Crossroads. I need to update this track here a little bit. Everything's sort of moving along so fast here for us, but I'm going to just update this here and update these times of arrival for you on that last frame right there. And then here's your new times of arrival as that line, or this little particular storm continues to push its way off to the southeast. So that's going to put it in White Fern at 10:52, community of Timberlake at 11:04, Lexington 11:06, and again we are at 10:48 now. Darden, if it holds together there, it'll be about 11:21 when that particular part of the line arrives. But the back side of this thing, again, isn't nearly it's conductive at this point, but we are certainly keeping an eye on it. We'll go back to the downtown camera just to show you what's going on here. Again, this is going to produce some gusty, cool, rain-cooled air as it pushes its way through here. So you're going to notice the temperature drop because that's literally what it's doing. It's scooping up that real soupy air that we had in place and lifting it, and that's what's giving this rugged appearance to these clouds here. It's very turbulent aloft, but not necessarily so much here at the surface. And as it continues to arrive in South Jackson, you can see the trees here blowing here a bit it, I believe. Yep, there you go. So we'll just take a look. You can barely see it because the light's a little washed out here, but you can see the trees really blowing there. So we got some gusty outflow winds pushing through Jackson right now. Of course, these are blowing at about 25 to 30 miles per hour, maybe 35 if we're lucky. But these are not severe winds, but it's certainly getting your attention. It is getting dark as a result of this shelf cloud as it continues to work its way through downtown Jackson here. I'm going to back out here and take another gander here at everything else. And you can see the rain mainly off to the northeast. That's that stronger cell we were tracking over into Henderson County that we're looking at there. But for us, again, the rain cool air and some of the rain starting to work its way down towards Jackson. We're going to be keeping an eye on things, and we'll be back in about 30 minutes with another update here. Although, what time is it now? We're about 10:50. Actually, we're just going to be on Good Morning, or we're going to be on midday here in about 30 minutes. But if anything's issued before that point, I'll definitely hop back in. But I'm going to go ahead and finish getting midday together, and we will talk about the latest on midday here in about 30 minutes.